Hello, my name is Jessie and I'm an aromatherapy student. So from time to time I get questions about my aromatherapy student life and I decide to respond by video because I think maybe there are other people that would be interested in the questions that were asked. So today I'm going to be talking about case studies. This is part 2 out of, I guess, my 2-part video series because I just put out a video on this just earlier. So in this video, what I'll be sharing with you is what my case studies look like in my aromatherapy program for me personally, keeping in mind that from program to program, school to school, this might look differently. If you are interested in seeing my other video where I talk about briefly what are case studies and what might differ program to program, school to school, check out my other video. So if you're on YouTube, you can click on my profile, my IGTV, and you'll see the video listed close to this one. If you're on YouTube, description, there'll be a link. So as I mentioned, today I will be talking about what my program looks like in regards to case studies. So I'll briefly go over what it looks like, walk you through it, and then go through kind of the details of why I do what I do, if that makes sense. I hope it'll make sense. So briefly, what my case study looks like is I will have a case study client, be a friend, family member, someone I know, someone I don't know, maybe someone who I know knows, and I'll meet up with them, find out kind of their general health, what it looks like, what are kind of some issues they want to address. Is it mental? Is it physical? And then I create a blend for them, a blend that addresses those issues as well as a blend that avoids essential oils that are deemed unsafe for them. So if they're pregnant, there's some essential oils I should be avoiding. If they're on medication, there might be essential oils I should be avoiding. If they have certain health conditions, there may be essential oils I should be avoiding. So I meet up with them, see what their health goals are, make a blend for them, and then over a course of time, for me it's a minimum of 30 to 40 days, they'll be using this blend, and then I'll check in with them time to time, and at the very end do the last final check-in to see, was the blend or product effective, yes or no? If so, how much? If not, it gives me an opportunity to reflect on why do I think it might not have worked and what could I do differently next time? So that's basically that in a nutshell. So now I want to talk about, if you were one of my clients, what this case study process would look like. And then after, I'll talk about the details of it. So you're my case study client. This entails, first we'll have like an initial consultation. First thing up, I'll kind of speak like this. So first initial consultation, this is the longest time we'll be together. This is about an hour. I'll get just your global view of your health, your lifestyle. Do you have any health issues, past health issues? Are you on any medications? Just kind of like feel out kind of what's going on in your health. And then at this time, we'll decide kind of what we want to use essential oils to address. Is it mental? Is it physical stuff? We'll talk about it. And this is where I'll kind of pause this saying here in my program, my first 15 case studies are holistic blends. So I'll be dealing with 3 issues, 2 physical, 1 emotional, or 1 emotional, 2 physical. So in this is where we'll decide what our issues are. Whereas in the second part of my certification program, I'll just be dealing with 1 issue. So then we'll decide which issue. So initial consultation, get to know you, decide what we're going to be using essential oils for. What we're going to be addressing. So after this 1 hour initial consultation, you and I would separate. That's when I, on my own terms, will be making a blend specifically for you. Of course, keeping, deciding which oils I'm going to be using. But I know some aromatherapists will make a blend up. Aromatherapy students will make a blend up when they're in their initial consultation, which I'll explain later why I don't. So we have our first initial consultation, we separate, and then next time we'll meet up, I'll give you your blend, your product, and then after that, we will check in every week or 2, usually every 2 weeks. And what I like to do, which is a little hint for future aromatherapy students, I like to make a little like plan tracker for my case study clients where it'll go week by week, and then each time they put the blend on, they can cross it off. So it's kind of like a cool little daily reminder for them. And also it gives me an idea of like, are they being consistent, yes or no? Because if I realize they're not being consistent and it's not working, that could explain a lot. So I make a little tracker, and then at the end of each week I have like a little white box where they will put like their weekly updates. So this week I felt it got better, it didn't, what you realize. And if it's like a skin issue, I'll get them to like send me a weekly photo of their skin. And this is really helpful too, I find, because when I meet with them at the 2-week mark or the 4-week mark, it can be difficult to remember. Like, I don't remember what week number 1 was, but they have it written down. So they have something to share, it's recorded and whatnot. So then we have, at the very end, our last meetup. Like I said, usually it's a minimum of 30 to 40 days, but sometimes it's longer. So for example, I have one client right now that we're gonna meet up at the 35-day mark, but in my mind, I'm thinking, I think 7 to 8 weeks would be the ideal like length of using this essential oil blend, which I told her, like, when we get to the 35-day mark, if there's no improvements, we can stop there. If there is, I think it could be beneficial to go to the 7 to 8 week mark, but we'll discuss it when we get there. So that's what it looks like. Initial consultation, 1 hour, and then after that I give them the product, and then we do check-ins, and then bang, it's done. All right, what else did I want to mention? Yes, what I want to mention was why. So why do I go home to make a blend? I really admire those who can like make a blend on the spot. For me, it's a little more difficult, and that's because currently in my program, as I had mentioned, I'm in the case study part, the first part of my program, where I have to make holistic blends. So I'll show with you kind of what my little sheet looks like. So when I go home, I will write down the 3 different conditions we're dealing with. And then underneath, I will write down what essential oils are good for it. And yes, I blocked the conditions just to kind of protect this person, and also just to respect my school, because they work really hard to provide me with the information they do. So I don't want to just like freely give this out. I'm hoping that makes sense. But so I'll write that down, and then I'll start cross-referencing. So for example, if I, whatever is like good for condition 1 and 3, I'll highlight in pink. You can see pink, pink. Anything that is similar for condition 2 and 3, I'll do orange. Yeah, orange. Anything with condition number 1 and 2, I have in green, so you can see the green here. And then everything in yellow is similar to all the conditions. So ideally, if I can get an essential oil that's good for all the conditions, I'll be picking it. So you can see for my base note, oh yeah, so if you haven't watched my other video, which you definitely should, when I blend, I have to use 3 to 6 essential oils. So minimum 3, maximum 6. And I have to use an essential oil from each blending category. So we have top, middle, and base. All right, so just kind of recap so you can look it up in my other video. But for me, if I look at this, I only have one that is highlighted as all conditions, and then in my base I have one that's highlighted as all conditions, and then I have like 4 options. Yeah, 4 options for my middle note. So that being said, that's kind of why I don't do this in front of clients, because it's not something I could just whip up in like 2 minutes. It's like it takes a fair amount of work to like look it up, write down, cross-reference. And personally, if I could choose, I would rather just do case studies dealing with one issue, because there's more freedom, more flexibility. It feels less restrictive for me. And this is why, and I'll show you, because keep in mind here, I only have one choice, and then 4 choices here. But if I was just doing with one condition, I have like all of these choices, all of these choices. Then I can actually sit in front of my client and say, hey, do you like, you know, more floral, more fruity? And I can like make blends and let them smell it, where I really don't have that much flexibility myself. And the fact that I have to, you know, I guess retreat, come back home and make the blends, I don't really want to meet up with my client or bother them and say, hey, do you want to come and like smell a few blends and then I'll make it later? It could be a little more difficult, but I mean, it's doable. So let me know if you have any more questions. If you guys do, I will, I'll try to answer them. And I think I'm even going to do, like I'd mentioned, a Q&A section for the questions that you guys might have. So a live Q&A. So anyways, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I hope to see you guys in my next videos. Bye.